Hey, it's Bitty Petty. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to make 5 cards, 1 kit, and I am going to use what's brand new to me, which is the Echo Park subscription box. So this is every other month, and I subscribe to this one because you get 12 by 12 paper. And Crazy Paper Chick made me do it. You guys, she is the one person I can watch and be like, yep, I want it. I don't know what it is, but I never bought something that she's recommended and regretted it. So it's all good. Yeah, so she's been trying out different subscription kits, and I have been too. And so when I saw this one on her channel, I had no idea, never heard about it. Oh, I'm checking my nails because I had been in the garden all day before making this video, and I was like, do I have dirt under my nails? But no, I had cleaned them. Anyways, so I am starting right back where we left off with one of my last 12 by 12 hacks. So I wanted to go over this again with you all because I know there was a little bit of confusion for some. Okay, so you take your 12 by 12, you cut it to 7.5 and 8.5, and then you turn it on the 7.5 edge and score it at 3 3/4. And that gives you a slimline card base, right? So that is the first 2 cuts. Then I have this piece of paper left over, and I'm going to cut it to 6 3 1/4. Now you could leave this at 6 3 1/2. That will still be a mini slimline card base. That's a card front, sorry. Okay, the last sheet of paper left over, you cut to 11 4 1/4. And that way you get an A2 card base once you score on the 11-inch side at 5.5. See, so one 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and you can get a slimline card base, a mini slimline front, and an A2 card base. All right, I'm going over all 3 cutting hacks. So you got to trim off the branding strip. Okay, now this is directional paper. So the first cut I'm doing is at 8.5, and then I'm turning my paper, and I'm going to cut these at 3 3/4. And I'm going to cut this 3 times, this long strip. And that is going to give me 3 slimline card fronts, right? So you still have to attach this to a base, but it gives you a full front to a card. So that's from one sheet of 12 by 12 paper, but we still have a strip left. We have this one. So I'm going to turn this into 2 mini slimline card fronts. So I'm going to cut at 3 1/4, and then on the long side, I'm going to cut at 6, and you will have 2 mini slimline card fronts. If you guys want to skip this tutorial, at the 5-minute mark is where I'm making cards. But I do have one more cutting hack for you. I'm showing you here, just this is all the strips that's left over. It's very minimal in my opinion, and they're all usable in design. All right, branding strip gone. Now this is directional paper again. We're going to cut at 8.5 as our first cut. We'll turn our paper. We're going to cut at 3 3/4 twice. So 1, and then again at 3 3/4. Okay, we've got 2 slimline card fronts. Now this one, instead of making it another slimline card front, I'm going to make it an A2 card front. Okay, so I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4 by 5.5. And I actually really like the leftover piece of paper that comes from this too. So I'm just showing you here. It fits on an A2 card, covers the whole front. But I really like this leftover piece. I think that's a really nice size. So I don't mind having it as a scrap. Okay, so we essentially have the same piece that we had in the last cutting direction. So we're going to cut it at 3 1/4 and at 6. Again, you could leave it at 3.5 by 6, and that will still work for a mini slimline. Okay, so now we have 2 regular slimlines, 2 mini slimlines, and an A2 front. These are all fronts, not bases. All right, so I used my own hack today to bust up this kit. And I have so many card bases already, but my time is limited today, so I'm only going to be able to make 5 cards with you guys, but I will definitely be revisiting this kit because it is 100% me. I love gardening, especially with my husband, and this kit just made me smile so big. So I've got my Barely Art glue, and I'm going to tack down a cardstock piece for the inside for my sentiments and writing area. So that was 4 by 5 1/4, that sheet of paper that I added in there. And then, I'll probably just add a strip of paper and call it done. But let's do the front. So guys, I left more of my process in for you today, just so you could see. And so that's why the video is a little longer. So I'm going to flip through here. I want you to see the difference of the pattern from the 6 by 6 pad and the 12 by 12 paper. See how they scale it differently? You may or may not have known that, but they do that, paper companies. The other difference here is that the 12 by 12 paper has for me, just a beautiful texture to it. And I am getting to where I prefer 12 by 12. I like having both. Oh, I'm spoiled. I like having both. I like having a 6 by 6 and I like having a 12 by 12. Because then I can make slim lines, and I just like the texture. I like that 12 by 12 is usually double-sided. I don't know. I like it all. All right, so I'm just trimming this down here to get it to where I can still see plenty of that beautiful pattern around the sides. Of course, that pattern is also going to be on the back of the card, and then a totally different and totally beautiful pattern will be on the inside of the card. Now I'm using these cut-aparts. And this, I'm telling you guys, when I opened this package, I was so delighted. I was so delighted because it's just my colors and my theme. Everything is just so, so beautiful. Echo Park did a spring pad, it's probably been 2 years ago, that I still have parts of it, and I just couldn't bring myself to use it all because I loved it that much. So I'm so happy to see this. Now I needed to acquaint myself with the ephemera, and this isn't typical ephemera. This is frames and tags. I've never had a frames and tags ephemera pack before, so that's different. But I think because you get so many cut aparts, it totally works. Yeah. All right. You know me, I'm going to rough up some edges here just to add some dimension. I'll show you all the difference. So much interest and dimension. Now, some people might not like it at all. That's okay. You just do whatever you love, whatever makes you happy. You don't have to rough up the edges if you don't want. I kind of tore mine right there, but you won't even be able to notice when the card design is done. I don't ever sweat that small stuff. I know there's a way to recover. Okay, I need to break up this pink area. So I just brought in a few scraps so that it kind of pops off of that. And Jan, I just love this tip. I have been using it so much lately, and I'm using my micro pour tape to hold my ephemera pieces where I want them. Then I can glue them down. And when I have everything like I want it, then I take my micro pour tape off. It's brilliant. I know she had suggested Post-it. I don't use Post-it tape, but I use this micro pour. Either one would work. A low tack tape is what you want. But I just really love that tip. Thank you so much, Jan. All right, so now I'm going to bring in a chipboard piece. And these are not stickers. I was double checking. They are just chipboard, which is totally fine. Because don't most of us add glue to our chipboard stickers anyways? All right, so now I'm going to add a strip inside the card and finish it off. If you're curious about the weight of the cardstock of the 12 by 12 and is that thick enough for a card base, the way I make cards it is because I add so many layers. I've never had a problem. And actually, this paper is nice and thick, just high quality all the way around. Okay, when I was looking through everything and getting acquainted, I'd really liked this green market sign. And there's a bigger one on a cut apart sheet for the 12 by 12 paper in the kit. And then there might even be a chipboard piece, but I decided to pull this one since it's going on a slim line. And I just wanted it to be like a sign. I thought it was great for this paper. So I will bring in some scraps. I want to give it a little bit of a border, make it stand out some more. So here I'm deciding, okay, I like about a 1/2 inch border all the way around. And then I needed to size it. So it's about 2 inches by 2 inches. So now I need to cut this paper at 2.5 by 2.5. And what's cool about these 6x6 pads is that they take the design all the way to the edge and they give you that extra space. So that hole, I was able to work around it and really use up that paper. Now, I didn't like this little bit of white on 2 edges. It just wasn't giving it a clean enough look for me. So I went ahead and trimmed just a tad off so that it would be a pink border of the gingham all the way around. Sometimes I'm very particular about things like that. Now, these 2 windows, the pink ones and the green ones, are duplicates. I decided to cover up the pink one to make it more interesting, if you will, or just random looking. All right, now I'm taking this frame because I keep wanting to build up this sign. And I notice this frame has holes and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And then on my desk, I have ribbon. So I grabbed this Dollar Tree mint ribbon. It's lovely. I have lots of love for the Dollar Tree ribbon. It totally works for me. And they've been putting out some really beautiful colors like this mint. So I'm just going to run this through those holes. And it adds so much texture. I really like the detail that it adds to this card. I was a little concerned because my sign was a little short on the sides. It didn't fully fill that center rectangle of this frame. But by the time I added this ribbon, it's not even noticeable. And it just makes... I don't know. I really, really like this. Okay, so now I need to secure the ribbon. I'm just going to use some Scotch tape. Have you guys noticed that pattern paper is coming back with like some of our biggest influencers in our hobby? I have noticed that some of the ladies who used to only watercolor or only alcohol ink color, like that, they're coming around to pattern paper again. I've noticed that and I find it's wonderful. I'm so glad. Not that I didn't love their style. I love all the card making styles. It's so funny. The other day I was admiring some cards on Instagram and I just had such a piece about me because I was like, I absolutely love these 1-layer alcohol markered cards, or just the way they, some card makers design. Even if that's not my style, I just admire what they're doing so much. And I admire it even more because it's not my style. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm playing around with cut aparts. And like I said, I left more of this in for you guys so you could see me kind of processing, deciding what I want. So I'm making a mini slimline here. And I really liked this card. I thought it was a fun sentiment. It could be used for lots of things. And I am just trimming it a little tighter than maybe what it's supposed to be, but it's going on a slimline, a mini slimline. So I decided that this car needed to be like on a road. It needed some color. It was kind of floating. It felt like Harry Potter for me. So I gave it some grounding with ink blending, and the color is Dirty Brush. Yeah, I don't know what color that is other than that's my brown and black brush, so it's a little bit of both. And now I'm using these strips, these scraps from our 12 by 12 cutting, and just playing around here. And I really liked this butterfly paper because it continues the butterflies that are in the background there. I think that's really sweet. So this is going to work for me. And I'll use my glass mat to line everything up. So I make sure my card base is lined up on the mat first. And then I'll use the same line and line this up. And that's the best way for me to get a straight line. Now this one I wanted to be shorter. So speaking of Alicia, Crazy Paper Chick, she inspired me to get this kit. And I know that I watched a video of hers last night, and she said that she's already worked with it and that she has a video coming out. So you guys will have to go check out and see what she made with the kit too. I know I can't wait to see. So I did pop this up with foam tape. And now I'm going to show y'all another 12 by 12. Why not? All right. So I need some bases, some mini slimline bases. So I cut this to 6 inches. So now we have two 12 by 6. And then I'm going to cut one of those to 7. Okay. And on the 7-inch side, I'm going to score at 3.5. And now I have a base for my card front. Now you could give that card front a more even border if you wanted to, but I didn't. Sometimes I like just 2 sides of a border, and I'm like, yeah, changing it up. All right, so this is the leftover piece from that first strip that we just cut, and I'm just going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5.5, and I'll have an A2 card front. I always mix those up in my voiceover. All right, so now we have a 6 by 12, cutting it down to 6 by 7. On the 7-inch side, we're scoring at 3.5. And then we're taking that leftover scrap, the last one, and again, I'm making an A2 card front. So now, out of one 12 by 12 sheet of paper, I've got 2 mini slimline card bases and 2 A2 card fronts and a few scraps that will definitely be used. And now I just need to glue this down. I really enjoyed using this 12 by 12 cutting hack for this kit because it had so much paper in it, and especially 12 by 12 paper. It's just so great. All right, I'm going to be playing with this kit for a long time. It comes with so much stuff, and I love all the stuff, the ephemera, these chipboard pieces. It's just wonderful. I was showing you here, this is my last scrap from that 6 by 6 sheet of paper, so I'm actually using it as well. I'll just turn that circle down so you can't see it. And now I'm pulling in just random pieces to see if I want to use my scraps, but I decide not to. I love this bee paper. I'm sure y'all can tell. I absolutely adore it. Okay, so my sentiment here, though, is about gathering loved ones. And I thought, well, a colony of bees, that's kind of where my head was at. Now let me show you guys this. I want to have about a 2-inch strip, but I'm going to be doing my tearing technique. So my first tear is going to be at 2.5. And the reason I do this is so I can get like a good 1/4 inch for this side of tearing. And I find that that's about how much paper I need for my fingers to get a good tear, is a 1/4 inch. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you need measurements when you're tearing, I would say give yourself more paper than what you want your final piece to be at. I'm going to bring in this ribbon again and glue things down. So I thought the phone book with the Gather Your Loved Ones was just perfect. We're gathering for my daughter's birthday this weekend. I'm so excited. She's turning 8. I can't believe it. And she's my baby. My youngest, I should say. They're both my babies. All right, so I really like what that one strip of ribbon adds to this card. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's such a perfect match. I try to stick to what's in the kits, but at the same time, I'm always encouraging y'all to use your stash, so I want to use mine too. So I brought in the ribbon. And it's all about the final product, right? So I keep that in mind too. If I see something like this, I'm going to go for it. Okay, so the soft, beautiful telephone booth and my other chipboard piece, which I definitely need to pop up with foam tape, or else it would be a mess. And I really love this card. I think of all the cards I made in this session, this was definitely my favorite. I'd like to know which ones you guys like. I always find that interesting. And this little bee is another chipboard piece from the pack. Now the chipboard did have like spikes on it, from where it's connected. And I didn't trim those off in the beginning. So that's what you're going to see me doing here. Like, oh, I should have cleaned that up before I glued it down. All right. So there we are. I didn't do the insides today. I'll go back and do that on my own time. I really had only an hour to get this done, so I had to prioritize. All right. I'm going to use this adorable piece of paper, and I was kind of just playing around there with things, and I decide to bring this piece in. Now I'm just measuring here on my mat to figure out what size this needs to be. And I typically like about a 1/2 inch as far as a difference between one size and the next, a 1/2 inch from edge to edge. Okay, so now I'm back to deciding, like, okay, now what? And for a minute, I think about using that gather sticker again. Again, the bees and gathering, was on my brain. But luckily I changed my mind because I like where I went next. I put that sticker back and I grabbed this one. Which this one I think is going to make like a great anniversary card. It could even be like a wedding card. I don't know anyone getting married, but it could be. I think it would work for either one. So now I'm just trimming this piece up. And this is my final card I'm making with you guys today. but I will probably share another video using this kit. I'm going to make my husband a garden journal with this kit, and so I might share that as well. We're trying to document the hundreds of plants we have in our yard and map them out, and so I'm going to make him a special book to do that, and I'm going to use all of this beautiful paper. If I don't share the process, I might share the book with you guys. So let me know if you'd like to see that. All right, I liked all this kind of catty corner, especially because I could see more bees and more of the beautifulness of everything. And I just think it adds more visual interest to have everything cattywampus. And now I'm bringing back this gorgeous mint ribbon again. And I keep a lighter in my craft room for ribbon like this because it does fray quite a bit. But I just keep a lighter up with my sequins, which is just above my desk. And I'll just melt these edges ever so slightly. And that way I don't have to worry about fraying. And now I'm going to stick this down with glue dots. And I decided to just use them all. And now that's another sheet of glue dots done. Plus this will be super secure. Okay guys, let me show you the 5 cards. I really like this one. I think this one would be great for a friend. Super sweet. I couldn't remember what I made next. It happens. Even if it's just in an hour. And now for this one, I used a card base that I had shown y'all in my tutorial previously. And like I said, I didn't do the insides of these cards during this session, but I'll go back and do them before I send them out or give them away. Just showing you the butterflies. I really like this card. The grounding of the car. And this is my favorite, for sure. It's easy for me in this video to say that this is absolutely my favorite. But maybe it's not yours, so I'd love to hear which one is your favorite. And then this is the last one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks so much for sticking around with me. I know it's kind of a long video today, but I just wanted to leave in my process for you. And I appreciate you guys so, so much. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.